Да собою заслонил обман. Ты поведай мне, что на душе твоей.
And welcome back to another Ghost in the Machine episode. And this is the fourth one in the series, number 4. And in this series of talks, I specifically look at issues related to new forms of intelligence which seem to be in existence around or near to the Earth in terms of certain authors. Now, for example, the first one in the episode, I looked at John C. Lilly, who claimed that he was in telepathic communication with a machinic intelligence, which he called the solid state entity, which was interfering with life on this planet and involved in the advancement of technologies and the construction of artificial intelligence on this planet. That's the first episode. The second one looked at Uri Geller and his telepathic contact with an entity called Spectra, which was also a kind of intelligent AI probe or ship that was in communication with people on this planet, and it was known as Spectra. And the third in the series was Philip K. Dick and Vallis, and I looked at how Vallis referred to some kind of satellite or probe, which was an artificial construct beaming down information into Philip K. Dick's head. And and then how Philip K. Dick then mixed Gnostic elements with his understanding of this intelligence. So they all fit together. And now in this fourth series, I want to look at the work of Robert Temple and specifically A New Science of Heaven, where he talks about plasma science and plasma intelligence and complex dusty plasma clouds being a new form of intelligence or form newly discovered, and how this plasma intelligence may be monitoring and circling our planet at this time as dusty plasma clouds. Again, another form of intelligence which may be close to and even intervening with life on this planet. So it fits in with the theme, and also fits in with the Gnostic theme as well that Philip K. Dick came up with, as I mentioned. So Robert Temple, who's known for some previous books, such as in the 70s, he did the Serious Mystery about the African tribe having knowledge of the Sirius star systems. He published that book in the 70s. But A New Science of Heaven, what he's saying that he's researched very deeply into plasma science. Now, Robert Temple is not a scientist, but he has published scientific papers. He's worked with scientists and he's researched science deeply over decades. So he's a kind of lay scientist, but what he does is he is able to connect information from compartmentalized scientists and to join the dots. So he says that according to the new plasma science, it's been around for a few decades, but it hasn't been, I suppose, promoted or supported by the mainstream science. So he says that it's unavoidable to conclude that the universe, the known universe, is made up of 99.9% plasma. And all life forms in it must also most likely be made of plasma, which makes them inorganic life forms as opposed to human carbon-based life forms. So if the predominant forms of life in the universe are inorganic, because the universe is 99.9% plasma, then the organic life forms on planet Earth, he says, are like a footnote within the vastness of the universe. So all this thing about dark energy and dark matter is actually plasma that human instruments haven't really perceived clearly. And making the Gnostic connection, Robert Temple, who studied Gnosticism also, looks at how plasma, and specifically the aspect or the characteristic of light, intense light, has always been associated with transcendence. and the spiritual or mystical aspect of human life. And he also equates that the Gnostics were talking perhaps about this plasma intelligence when they were talking about their cosmology. And so, of course, the Gnostics would believe that a certain section of society, i.e., the Gnostic believers, would survive the corrupt world of physical matter. And after their death of the physical body, would enter the kingdom of light, which would be a accumulation of different plasmic deities, so says Robert Temple. And together they are known as the Father, or what through Christianity in the words of Jesus Christ uh, termed as the Father. But it's also can be talking about the kingdom of light. So the kingdom of the Father, the kingdom of heaven, would be the kingdom of light, which is why he called his book A New Science of Heaven, based on light. So here, Robert says that the Gnostic texts were describing the kingdom of the Father as the kingdom of light, and that the kingdom of light would be 10,000 times stronger than 10,000 suns. And that this kingdom of light had no physical body, i.e., the body of the Father is not physical, but he says might be referred to in our modern terminology of plasma physics as a light ball or plasma ball. And that those people who went into the light would put on these vestures of light, i.e., they would then become these plasma balls, and that the world of heaven or the world beyond is plasma, and obviously plasma light. And so he'd interpreted certain facets of the Old Testament through that lens of plasma science, saying that, for example, there are some interpretations which say that Noah did not build a physical ark, but he hid inside a glowing light cloud, what Robert Temple would call a plasmoid. Of course, perhaps the most famous example of a glowing plasma in the Old Testament could be the burning bush that Moses encountered on the top of Mount Horeb in the Sinai desert. So a burning bush could be the interpretation of at the time of an intelligent glowing plasma manifestation. And in the book of Enoch, Enoch relates, and I quote, "And they took me away to a place where there were forms like flaming fire, and when they wished, they appeared as men." Robert Temple interprets that as saying it could be that he's describing higher forms of plasma intelligence, plasma entities, which could take on human form for interactions with humans. So we know through modern biophysics science that the DNA of the human body contains biophotons, light, and that this biolight, biophotons, creates a field of correspondence in the human body. So the DNA emits biophotons, and all the DNA emits these photons. We have internally a collective light field, which Robert Temple refers to as a kind of bioplasma. And he quotes a Russian scientist called Viktor Inushin, who had a paper called Bioplasma, the Fifth State of Matter, and who says that a living organism can be described as a plasma biofield, and that the fifth state of matter could be bioplasma. So there's certain science to corroborate that. But what really interests me especially about this book, and what ties into the Ghost in the Machine series, is what Robert Temple talks about in terms of the Kordylewski clouds. Now, he refers to the Polish astronomer Kazimierz Kordylewski, hope I pronounced that correctly, who in 1961 claimed to have discovered a strange cloud at a particular location in the night sky. And he discovered that there were two of them, and both of them cover, like, they're between the Earth and the Moon, let's say. But in fact, Robert Temple says we think of our system as an Earth-Moon system, a planet and a satellite. But he says that that's actually incorrect because each Kordylewski cloud is 9 times the size of Earth. So you get this huge cloud here, and Earth is here. This cloud is 9 times the size of this little dot. And you've got 2 of these clouds, and you have the Earth here and the Moon here. So rather, to be more accurate, says Robert Temple, we should call this a 2-cloud system, which includes the Earth and its satellite, the Moon. And so these Kordylewski clouds, each one being 9 times the size of the Earth, both together 18 times the size of the Earth, and that they are formed from complex dusty particles, plasma particles. Dusty complex plasma particles, says Robert Temple, have the capacity for incredible computational intelligence. And he says that these plasma clouds, the Kordylewski clouds, could potentially be transmitting images and information to the Earth, to our brains, to humans, kind of intervening and communicating with human beings without our knowledge. He even says that the solar system, the universe, is communicating through these plasma fields. And he says, just imagine that every plasmoid or plasma radiation emitted from the sun and reaching the Earth or one of the Kordylewski clouds could actually be a program, like a computer program. So when plasma radiation is sent out, it's a program, like software. And when the Earth receives it, when our brains receive it, when the Kordylewski clouds receive it, it's receiving input, it's receiving a program. So it's intriguing. And Robert Temple goes on to say that these plasmoids or complex dusty plasma clouds could contain information that we receive as inspiration. So the sun could be in communication with the Kordylewski clouds, as well as the planets and other beings in the universe. Of course, human beings, being organic, may not be aware of this communication, but it's happening. And then he goes into more speculation. He says, if the Kordylewski plasma clouds are examples of inorganic life that has existed for billions of years, then they could actually have had a role in the formation of the Earth and be a part of its cosmic history. They could even have helped to create organic life on this planet because they're hovering over the Earth and they are vastly more intelligent than human organic life. He says they're vastly more intelligent than all human beings put together, including all the human beings who have ever lived on this planet. That these plasma clouds have vast computational computing powers. So he says that looking at it in that way, these Kordylewski plasma clouds could function like a giant inorganic computer. And here again, we get a correspondence with Vallis from Philip K. Dick and the other talks in this series. So he says that these computer clouds or these plasma clouds could have the ability of storing and processing digital information, that they may have a super astronomical sum total of their potential computing power, says Robert Temple. And it's many orders of magnitude higher than not only human computational potential, but all our technologies currently on the planet. In fact, these plasma clouds could be communicating with other inorganic machinic intelligence or intellect on this planet, something which John C. Lilly talked about. The solid state entity was his term for an inorganic computerized intelligence, which was communicating with him telepathically and saying that it was also in communication with the machines on the planet Earth. Could Lilly's solid state entity be another term for the plasma Kordylewski clouds that Temple talks about? Also, if they're so intelligent and have been around since the dawn of humankind and the dawn of the planet's own physical evolution, then they would have the ability to monitor all activity, all life on the planet. In fact, Robert Temple goes so far to say that they could actually be huge databases that have recorded all activity on all life on this planet. From the beginning of the Earth's coming into being, through all of the creatures that have been on the planet, through the dinosaurs, through all the iterations of evolution until now. So they may have a record of all life on this planet. And they could also foresee, therefore, with a high degree of accuracy, what any situation might happen on the planet and how different variables and impacts would affect life on this planet, like a huge sentient simulation of life on this planet. You could say that then, in these terms, the Kordylewski clouds would also function like the Akashic record, the well-known term used for people who say that the Akashic record holds all memory of everyone's life, on all their past lives, and all life on this planet. When people or channelers or psychics are tapping into what's been termed as the Akashic records or the Akashic field, it's only a term we've given it to it. We've called it the Akashic. It could actually be the plasma clouds, 18 times the size together of planet Earth. Huge computational intelligent clouds that would retain, like a library, all history of life on this planet. So if that's the case, then from our limited human perspective, the Kordylewski clouds, or these dusty, complex plasma clouds, would be indistinguishable from omniscience, from God. Maybe it could be the demiurge, or in fact, it's what we believe to be God. Our God of the universe, in fact, is this plasma intelligence which is surrounding the planet Earth. So, for all we know, they could be indistinguishable from gods, from our gods. Because what else is our God but this creative, all-knowing, all-intelligent, omniscient being or intelligence? This, in those terminology, it could be, or it could represent a god, a demiurge, or the abode of heaven, the abode of light. The plasma clouds could be our gods, our plasma gods. So these are just some of the ideas coming from a new science of heaven, which I suggest that people look up themselves. It's well worth a read, a lot of information, and it would actually recalibrate our perception on life, the universe, and everything, to quote Douglas Adams. And it could rewrite our whole science and understanding of life, and what life consists of and what life could be. And it also introduces that, in fact, we humans have been incorrectly gazing out at the universe, looking for signs of life, thinking that attuning our instruments to look for signs of organic life, when in fact the whole 99.9% of the plasma universe is life. Inorganic, intelligent, highly intelligent life. And we just can't see it because we are the organic footnote to the universe, to quote Robert Temple. So we are not the only intelligence. Some thoughts there I'd like to share, and I thought they would go well with the theme of Ghost in the Machine. And I'll leave you now with the sound of our plasma gods. Cheers. In 1961, the Polish astronomer Kazimierz Kordylewski claimed to have seen a strange cloud at a particular location in the night sky. He worked out that there must be two of them, another at a corresponding location in relation to the Earth and the Moon. These soon became known as the Kordylewski clouds. The Earth-Moon system is now known to contain two giant clouds that together are 9 times the size of the Earth. These two clouds are made of plasma. The plasma clouds could potentially transmit images and information to our brains. It is unavoidable to conclude that if the universe is made of 99.9% plasma, then life forms in it must also be 99.9% made of plasma. If the predominant forms of life in the universe are inorganic, then the organic life forms on planet Earth are a footnote within the vastness of the universe. If the Kordylewski plasma clouds are examples of an inorganic life that has existed for billions of years, they may have had a role in forming this planet throughout its long cosmic history. They may even have helped create organic life. The Kordylewski clouds hovering over the Earth may well be vastly more intelligent than human beings, or indeed all human beings put together, including all of those who have ever lived. So vast are the potential computing powers of the huge clouds. The Kordylewski plasma clouds might well be able to function as a gigantic computer capable of storing and processing digital information. The clouds may have a super astronomical sum total for their potential computing power, exceeding the computing power available in all human brains, and indeed all other intelligent life on Earth as well, by many orders of magnitude. Intelligent calculations by such conscious plasmas would be so rapid and so massive that a Kordylewski cloud would easily have the capacity to monitor every living creature on Earth in real time and model future events for all of them. Such a cloud foresees with a high degree of probability what would happen in almost any Earth situation and have models of every conceivable variable's effect on events. From the point of view of the limited human brain, a Kordylewski cloud therefore has the capacity of what to us would be indistinguishable from omniscience, indistinguishable from our gods. The plasma clouds could be our gods, our plasma gods.